Hey, what is up, everybody? It's been a little while since I've been on here. I jump back in just for a few minutes, talk about something that's very important. As you can see, the cube is back. It's behind me. We are in our new office here in Raleigh, North Carolina, and we also have another cube actually in South Point. So there's something I wanted to share or talk about, I guess, in regards to like what I do to make it more clear the difference between what Move is and what I do, as opposed to maybe other therapies that you receive from other people, chiropractic, physical therapists, therapies. I've always been very passionate about not discrediting other people or calling out other businesses or anything like that. So it's very important to me. But what I wanted to do tonight is actually go over a little bit about the difference between active therapy and passive therapy. So I focus mainly on passive or active therapy. As you can see, the cube behind me. Some of you have seen some of my live events where I'm doing a lot of moving around on the floor and creative, intuitive movements that really have no right or wrongs to them. So the importance of that is that I'm giving you a task to do, but I'm not telling you how to do it. And I think that's really important. There's so often that we're told to try something and it's not something that we're great at, or it's not something that we're capable of doing at that moment. Maybe emotionally, maybe psychologically, maybe even physically, that we can't do that thing. Okay. So instead of adapting the movement or adapting what's being asked of you, you're being pushed until you try to do that and then maybe potentially hurt yourself, or you don't feel that what you're having done is working, or you're not feeling like you're progressing. Okay. So, and in PT, there's a lot of active things that happen. There's a lot of exercise, and they're helping with muscle dysfunction and muscle imbalances to try to correct an injury. So there's nothing wrong with the movements that they're doing. The difference now between that movement and my movement is that I focus on what I call randomized instinctual movement. So it's allowing you to solve the puzzle. I'm just giving you a task. I'm giving you a place to a location to touch. And then I'm able to watch your behavior or how your body moves or how you're thinking, and then being able to adjust what I do based on what I see. So that way I'm helping you in the exact present moment, right? I'm helping you with what you need right now. Maybe 2 weeks ago you felt like this, but today you feel like this. So why would I want to help you from how you felt 2 weeks ago instead of helping you how you feel right now? Now, here's the catch, is that what was happening 2 weeks ago is still vitally important to what's happening right now. So part of what I do in active therapy and watching behavior is conversation, right? The biggest thing that I need to know how to help you is to know what's going on in your life. Okay, I had a gentleman I worked on for probably close to 9 months, almost a year. He came from from a PT that referred him to me, that had worked with him for a year. They were trying all this dry needling and different types of passive therapy, different types of active therapy, and weren't seeing any results. He comes to me as off a referral. We started seeing the same thing, started getting some progression, but then it would kind of stall out. Well, the importance of why I'm telling you this and why it's important, like what I use the cube for, and why it's important of conversation to find out how to help you, is after 2 years of having all of these things done to him, all of these treatments, all of these like different modalities or different experimental things, he finds out his house is full of mold, and it was a neurological thing from mold exposure. So it had nothing to do about biomechanical, it had nothing to do about emotional, psychological. It was an environmental thing that was going on in his own home. Is because it could be the other people in your home, right? Whether or not you feel safe with the other people that are in your home, or feel safe from yourself, right? And that's why mental health is so vitally important. So bringing all this together is where I converge that physical of that biomechanical, that movement, that activity, and how you're responding to the activity with that mental health. How is your mental health? Can we address the biomechanical? Can we address the psychological and the sociological? Okay, because think of it this way: is like you come in here and say my back hurts, and I say, well, did you hurt your back? And you say, no, it just started hurting. Okay, so biomechanically that would tell me, well, the likelihood of me treating your back first without finding out why your back hurts seems kind of like chasing our tail a little bit. Because if you didn't fall, you didn't hurt your back, you didn't pick up something wrong or anything like that, it just woke up one morning and your back hurt. Okay, so the difference is that maybe I would go, okay, so how do you feel? How do you feel mentally? Did you have any major events happen in your life? Oh, you've been depressed for a couple of years and you've been very withdrawn and not hanging out with your friends or going out because you're not feeling well. Okay, so now we know that maybe your back hurts because you've been withdrawn and hunched over, and now your back started hurting over a period of a couple of years. And then now you're not going out and doing social events, you're not seeing your friends, they're becoming more depressed, and now you're withdrawing even more, and now your back hurts even more. But at no point in there have you hurt your back. Your back just hurts. Okay, so that's the biggest piece, is that I have to know your story. Right. And that's the important piece of learning as much as I can about you in each session, so we know what needs to change, or which avenue, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, psychological, whatever piece there is, but all the pieces matter. Okay. And someone said this once, and I adapted it into my practice, and I think it's helped me so much help other people or help more people, is that they say if you truly listen to somebody, not hear them, not prepare for your response, or already thinking about your response before anything happens, and actually listen to someone for 20 minutes, they'll tell you exactly what they need. So spending that 20 minutes or 10 minutes, or sometimes it's even been 30 or 40 minutes, unpacking this, your story, unpacking the story and figuring out, okay, this is what you're feeling. Here's when you're feeling it. Here's when it's better. Here's when it's not better. And then start to figure out, where do we need to start first? And the beauty of that, by mixing the physical and the mental together and playing, okay, because all I do is, in a simple way, in the cube or with the blocks, is I teach people how to play. Okay, but the thing about true play is in of itself. Okay, it is just its thing. There's nothing that changes in the universe from you playing. Playing an instrument is just making noise out of a thing, and you enjoy it, but it's not changing anything unless it's your business. Obviously, then you're changing something, but you're still playing. Now you gotta make money while you play. But here's the biggest piece of play, is that you have to feel 100% safe to play. And that's why it's important with child development and making sure they have a safe environment, so they can have this playtime, and true playtime, where they're not waiting for something to happen, or being slightly on guard all the time, making sure something's not going to happen, or they're not going to have some surprise event. So, as for an example of this, if you come to my office, you'll notice I'll lock the front door behind you, and then I'll lock my office door again behind you. So there's 2 levels of boundary there before you get to my office. And that way I know if I'm in session with you and I hear somebody out in the hallway, they had a key and they belong in here. Okay. So safety is very important to how we feel. It's very important how you feel in your home. Okay. So creating safe spaces. And I want to make sure that's said the right way, not a safe space that is overly protective and you can't have anything come in that disturbs you or bothers you or anything like that. But just somewhere that you feel secure, okay, that you can let your guard down, you can take your mask off, you can kind of like let your hair down and just be you, okay? So that's what safe is, and that's what you're trying to create. So I have runaway spots, just as an example. So I have, you know, a spot in the house, then I have a spot down at the creek, a quarter of a mile down the road that I walk to, or I'll go to a spot in Umstead, which is 15-minute drive and a 20-some minute hike to my spot off trail to run away to. Okay, so we're just bigger kids. Okay, we need the same things as adults as we needed when we were kids. Okay, so to give yourself these places to go to where you can just be yourself and make silly sound effects and jump around and roll around and be silly and not care, those are very important. Okay, no matter how old you are, those are important. You need your time to find yourself back, to self-actualize, to be you. Okay, so when people come to me, I just assist them in their process of self-actualization or their process of becoming themselves, or helping you do what's important to you, right? Maybe running is your most important thing to your life. Maybe that's your runaway spot, pun intended, right? Running is your safety. Your running is your play. Okay. So you're going to come in here, and my biggest thing that I focus on is making sure I refrain from telling somebody to stop somebody from doing what they want to do or like get joy from. Okay. My job as a therapist is to make sure I can help you continue to do what you want to do for as long as possible. Okay. And I'm going to help you with that through movement. I'm going to help you through coaching and through mental health, and making sure that you are 100% you, and that you can stop or begin to let go of the feeling that you get from wondering what other people think about you. Okay? Because we live how we think other people think about us. Okay? So if you can eventually break that and be able to play anywhere you want, be as weird as you want, goofy as you want, do whatever you want. If you want to walk on your hands with your underwear on your head down through the mall, who cares, right? Because you're not hurting anybody and you're not hurting yourself. Okay, so that's a very extreme example, obviously, a very extreme example of what play is, or the feeling of being so secure of who you are and so secure in your safety and what you feel you're capable of, that you could do something like that. Okay, so that's what you're trying to get to. Maybe not to that extreme, but to be able to walk around in everyday life and just be you, just be 100% you, feel good, feel safe, feel secure, be happy with who you are, with what you're wearing, with the people that you associate with, and just be that. So when I have people in here, we might start, if it's a therapy thing or a pain thing or a biomechanical thing, we might start on the table. And on the table, I might just hold my hand up and say, touch my right hand with your left elbow. Okay, well, what is my hand to your left elbow? And you can get there any way you want. I'm not saying you have to keep this down or tighten this or breathe this way or like hold your breath now and like make sure this is activated and not activated and get your elbow to my hand. No, I just asked you to get your elbow to my hand. So then what I got to do is watch how you process that information and say like, oh, I can do that. And you go up and hit my hand. Well, maybe you see the difference between someone that's struggling to get up there or someone that says, well, I can't do that. That's too far away. And that's that like kind of shut down or like reserved, like I'm not capable of doing that. Okay. But then you have people that are like super like athletic or competitive and they're like, I got that. Right. And they'll just move really fast. Well, that shows me how you're thinking. Your mind is just reacting. Your body is just reacting to what your mind wants you to do. Your body is your body is your mind's willful servant. Okay. So when I'm watching behavior, I'm watching things being acted out, that gives me an idea of how I can help you, or how I can critique, or how I can adjust the therapy that we're doing in movement to match where you're at or where you're trying to get to. So if you're here and you're a very rigid person that can barely move or make decisions, and you don't know how to like really navigate life, and I can take you from there, okay, because this is our acceptance point. These are very big things, is to accept that this is where I am in my journey. This is where I am in my life right now. And here's where I want to go. Okay. So we create a plan around, okay, here's where you are right now. This is our acceptance point. I have accepted that this is me. I've accepted that this is my capacity. This is what I'm able to do. This is who I am. This is the things I like. These are the things I don't like. Do you like numbers? Do you like colors? Do you like shapes? Do you like sound effects? What do you like? What brings you joy? Okay. Then I can take that same information and create therapy for you using the cube or the blocks or my hand and what you're doing, and create games that are specific to what you need or what you find joy in. Okay. So now we're doing exercises, or we're playing, because we are truly playing, because there's no rights and wrongs and you can do anything you want. Because you're truly playing, we can heal so much faster because we're safe. Our organism feels safe. Our nervous system feels safe. And now we can move in all these crazy ways and not feel like we're on guard. We're not feel like we're waiting for the other boot, the boot to drop or something to happen. Okay. So yeah, so that's a big piece of like what I do. And I think that a lot of people maybe have been confused at what I do in here. They're like, what even are you? Well, I'm a play therapist, right? I teach adults how to play. I teach kids how to play. Kids are wonderful to watch in here because they're very unprogrammed. Okay. Believe it or not, if you feel like you're free to do whatever you want, you're still a lot of times restricted as you get older to these patterns you've created, or these patterns that your parents created, or people around you, your siblings, or your other peers in school have created these patterns that are inside of you, and you act them out subconsciously. You're just acting them out, and you can't figure out why life doesn't feel quite right, or you're not quite figuring it all out, is because you're still following somebody else's path. You're still following somebody else's behavior that doesn't match. Your behavior doesn't match what you're trying to achieve. If this is your goal to do this, and your behavior doesn't match you trying to get here, it's a really long way to get here. Okay. So by me being able to help you see in real life, I can video your cube session or your block session, and you get to watch what you're doing or how you're reacting or responding to different tasks that I have to do, or different stimuli. Okay. Because the rules in my office when you play the cube is that there are no rules. There are no rights and wrongs. You can do anything you want. Okay. So in that case, if you went into the cube and I say, we're going to play in the cube, and you stand there for 15 minutes and say, I don't want to play, you're right. That's your boundary. You've decided that the way I'm going to play is that I don't want to play. Okay, cool. We can sit here for a few minutes. I've gone 2 or 3 minutes in complete silence with another person, and we're both learning something in that moment. So, and from that moment, we can create something to move you forward from there based on what you're trying to get to. So maybe you want to be more confident, right? Well, let's get you used to making decisions faster, right? Get used to making decisions more confidently, or knowing that mistakes happen, and you know what? You're more confident in making the mistake, and you're okay with it. Okay, so that's kind of a basis. That's kind of like I guess, an idea or a theory of what I do in here. I help people from children with ADHD. I've started helping people with kids with autism. Work with a lot of runners, yoga, just coaching. I have people come in for regular massages still, so I'll do that. I'm gonna turn my light on real quick, okay? Hold on a second. I can see me a little bit better. It's getting a little dark in here. So, but anyway, so sometimes I've had clients come in that came in for a massage. We started talking. They had a really bad day. For an example, they came in. I've known them for a couple of years. They walk in the door. I say, "Hey, how you doing today?" And they go, "Terrible." Okay, well, have a seat. Let's talk. So the idea is to find out why they feel terrible. Okay, so we can kind of unpack that a little bit and go like, well, what's going on in your life? What's, before we get to the massage, because why would they enjoy the massage if their mind is just spinning with all of this stuff, trying to figure out what they're going to do? Where maybe I can go, hey, have you thought about this? Or have you tried that? And maybe that clears it up a little bit. You'd be surprised how fast we heal in our mind by being heard, by someone listening to you, by someone taking the time to know you, to understand you, to comprehend what you're saying. Okay, 15 or 20 minutes of that where you actually have someone like looking at you and going, huh, have you thought about doing this way? And they're like, no, that's a great idea, thanks. And now they feel better. And now we can just go back and do the massage, because now they don't feel terrible anymore. Now they have a plan of action they can move forward with. So just to be clear in the mental health thing, I'm not a mental health professional, so I don't claim to be. I do 100% support it. I've used therapy for about 8 years now. I strongly suggest everybody have a therapist if you're in a relationship of any kind, whether you're married or you're dating or whatever. Obviously, if you're going to take your first date to a therapy session, to a couples therapy session. But if you've been in a relationship for over a year, you should probably have a couples therapist, because the beauty of that is that you got to have a mediator sitting there with you, understanding the both of you and how you're interacting, and they're pointing out things that you don't see. They're pointing out things that you weren't aware that you're even doing. Okay, so then each week it's remediated and cleared up, and then you can move forward again. Okay, so that's my little pitch for couples therapy. Hands down, if you're married or in a long-term relationship, find a couples therapist, find a family therapist, and use it. It's very, very vital to keeping a happy, healthy relationship. So I want to say that about mental health. It's very important to me to follow my scope of practice. It's very important to me to promote mental health and promote having a mental health therapist. I help people through coaching. I help people through ideas, through suggestions. I see the world very differently, got a lot of different experiences. So it's something that it's really not that I'm giving you advice or treating you or diagnosing you or what's wrong with you. I'm just having a conversation. And in that conversation, I can find out ways that you're thinking differently than I am and help you unpack that and go, maybe you should think about it this way, and let's unpack it this way. And it might make more sense to you, because we get so clouded by our emotions and so clouded by our our behaviors. And then you get your emotions depending on how many people you're around, whether you're working in an office with 30 people all day long, and there's always office drama and everybody's like chit chatting and catty and the rumor mill's going. Then you go home and you're trying to deal with your relationship. Maybe you have kids and they had this crazy day at school with kids not getting along with them. So they have this energy they're bringing home from their rough experience. Maybe he had a bad day, you had a rough day at the office. Now we bring all of this home to your cube. Okay, your home is your cube. Your home, your living room is your cube. Your light is the light on the end table. That's the yellow ball. The lamp on the top on the ceiling, that's the red ball. The corner of your coffee table, that's the blue ball over there. Okay, they're all just locations. They're objects that you have to step around or duck or locate or name or be aware of. Okay, so now you're taking these people, these other humans that you live in your home with, in your cube, and you're now having to interact with each other. You're now having to infer information from their nervous system to your nervous system. And now you're like, oh, and like everything's just hectic, and now everybody's yelling at each other and everybody's melting down, now it's just insane. Okay, so now we've taken this one situation that was just you, and now you've multiplied it, because now it's just not you, it's you plus them, and them, and them, right? And then it keeps multiplying. And everybody wants something else. Everybody either wants more of something or less of something, and there's compromise and negotiation. And the more buildup you have between maybe seeing a therapist or coming in here and doing the cube and kind of erasing your brain for a little bit in 20 minutes and kind of getting this like calming, empty brain, relaxation, meditation state, and you leave, and for 3 days you can handle more things because you hit this level of reset. You come all the way back down. You're like, whew, okay. So now when you go home, you can handle more of those weird situations, or the kids coming home angry from school, or figuring out how to stay more calm where you're in compromising or negotiating with your partner. So that's why mental health is important. And that is also how the cube works. Okay, so it's just really exposure therapy, but allowing you to move completely independent, right? Because when I say that there's no rules and rights and wrongs, you can do anything you want, I remove all of my power from you. So no matter what you do in there, I can't stop you. So I watch people do wrong things all day long, but because I told them that they could do wrong things if they wanted to, and most people don't realize they're even doing wrong things, but it doesn't really matter. So they do all these wrong things and they feel good because it shattered this like conceptual thought or the conceptual pattern or program of what they thought was supposed to be, or what was the right way, or my way is the best way and your way sucks and whatever, right? You're erasing all of that and starting back over from the beginning, going, well, shit, what really matters anyways, right? You can get rid of all of this crap that clouds your mind, that tells you that it's important, or all of this marketing and all of this stuff from all over the world that tells you it's important. You should watch me. You should buy me. You should look at me. Okay. And it erases all of that. And it says, you know what? None of that matters. What matters is the time you spend with your family. What matters is the time you spend with your kids. You're better off spending 30 minutes of 100% undivided attention with your child than 10 minutes intermittently where you're constantly picking up your phone or dealing with your Apple Watch and checking an email or whatever. And they're like, they want to get into that play state. They want to get into that flow state and playtime with you. And as soon as they start to get in their flow, you stop and go do something. And you come back and they're like, oh, okay, well, you're back. So we're gonna try to do this again. And you start playing with them, and then you walk away, or you grab your phone. Now you're lost in your phone for 10 minutes and you forgot your kid was playing with you. So to them, that's this interruption, this constant interruption. If you give them 30 minutes of undivided time, that's like 3 hours to them. Like their time span is so long. Like time to them is like 10 times longer than time when you're 40, because it all moves so fast, right? Think of how long it took, or how long it felt the first time you tried to tie your shoe, and you're like all thumbs trying to figure out how to put these strings together, and it felt like an eternity. But now you tie your shoe with your eyes closed. You can just like do, and you're done, like no big deal. Okay, because everything you did, everything in your whole life, all the hard things you've ever gone through, where at one point it's hard as tying your shoe. Now they're not, because you kept doing it and refining it and practicing it and getting better at it and learning better ways and newer ways. And you just keep getting better at it. You keep refining that process. But you have to take care of this, because what your body is acting out is all the stuff you haven't taken care of. The body's acting out all of these patterns and programs and maybe boundaries you didn't set for yourself, or maybe you're not where you're supposed to be. Maybe you're not with the person you're supposed to be. And I heard this one time and I really like it, and I'm gonna start to wind things down here a little bit, but it's okay to be sad for making the right decision. I'll say that one more time. It's okay to be sad for making the right decision, because you need to protect you. There's this like negative thing to being selfish, like this negative thing, like, oh my God, you're so selfish. I'm very selfish. Okay. Very selfish. Like 100%, I think of Joe. Okay. But if you've known me long enough, and there's a lot of people on here that have known me for a very long time, you know that I'm not selfish. You know that I help a lot of people. I saved a guy's life, helped save a guy's life the other night, last Friday. 7 days ago, guy was in an anaphylactic shock, dying in my in the driveway of the office. Okay, that happened. I stopped on the way there. Not that I think I'm high and mighty and you're going to stop and help every single person, but the poor guy was in a powered wheelchair, and the 12-pack of beer that he was coming back from the store with busted open all over the ground. He's going in and out of the road, stuck in his wheelchair, trying to pick up his beers. So we just stopped and helped him pick up his beers. But it's awareness, and it's that the ability to take care of yourself creates more awareness. Okay, I always say, like, the stronger our anchor, the more broad your awareness. Okay, so the more safe you feel, the more secure you feel, the more financially secure you feel. Maybe taking care of your mental health, taking care of your physical health, making sure your spaceship is fully functional and your captain knows what the hell is going on in reality, in real time. Like, the captain needs to know what's going on to drive the spaceship to go do the right thing. And the more the captain knows what the hell to do, you can help more people, because you're selfish. You're selfish lets you help more people, because the better you feel, the more people you see that need help. So to say you're not selfish and pretend that you only think about everybody else and you don't take care of yourself, the less people you see need help. And then you're so spun out from your mental health and your inability to move because you haven't worked out in so long that you can't help anybody anyways. So now this whole thing of I'm not selfish makes you unable to help the people that need help. And that's the biggest mind twist. I'll say my other word. It's the biggest mind twist of, if you're more selfish and the more you take care of yourself and your mental health and your physical health and your emotions and your boundaries and all this, it makes you a stronger person. And because now you're a stronger person, you can help more people, because you're not so focused on, like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to survive. I don't know, I'm feeling this, and and I'm so scattered in my brain, and like there's so many noises and so many voices and so much craziness going on in there. I can't focus on anything but what I have to do for myself. That's selfish. Being so lost in this one little space of craziness that you drive by a guy that's like unable to take care of himself. Where if I'm selfish and I can take care of myself and I'm healthy and I'm capable, I see more people that need help, and I have the ability to help them. So all I'm saying, now that I've gone off a little bit of what I do in here, I help you become a little more selfish. I help you take care of yourself. I help you take care of your mind and your body and your soul and your psychology and your emotions and your boundaries. Because if I ask you to do something in the cube and you don't want to do it, great. You set a great boundary. I'm proud of you. You decided to not do something that you didn't want to do. How fucking cool, excuse me. How cool is that? That you were aware enough and present enough and selfish enough to take care of yourself and to decide what you were willing to do as opposed to not willing to do to protect self. Okay, so don't let me tell you that selfish is negative. It can be, but I think you being so lost and not being able to see what's going on around you because you're so lost in this like other world that you've lost your awareness of your surroundings, that you're going to walk right past a guy that needs help. That's all I'm saying. So if you're looking to become more selfish and looking for more self-care, and you're looking for peace of mind, calmness in your mind, like literally most people that leave say they feel calm or zen calm or relaxed or quiet in my brain or very stimulated. Maybe they become so stimulated they have one of my business partners, the first time he ever did the cube, because when I was driving home, I had to turn the radio off. I couldn't have the windows down. Everything had to be quiet because like everything was so loud. It was so bright. Because your awareness is now increased. Now you're taking in more information. You can see more things. You see more people that need help. Okay? So if you want to feel that way, if you want that calmness, or you want to press the reset button on this whole crazy thing we call life in 20 minutes, you can have that feeling. And then after that 20 minutes, you can spend 2 or 3 days just feeling like you just got out of the monastery. Like you're just good. So the cool thing is I can give you this same feeling virtual. I can do these blocks or targets, and we can do the same game with the cube in the safety of your own home, in the safety of your bedroom, anywhere in the world. So wherever you're watching this, if you want to experience what I'm talking about, experience this feeling of calm, experience this feeling of instinctual movement, just playing. If you want to feel what play feels like, and you feel like you can't quite get there, let's do a virtual session from anywhere in the world. And I'll teach you how to play online, and you can keep practicing it, and we can keep doing sessions, and you can start creating your own games. And we can create a game together, and then we can keep working together. Okay? So it doesn't matter if you're here with me or if you're anywhere else in the world. If you want to learn what I'm doing or experience what I'm doing, reach out to me. Reach out. My web address is neuralmovementtherapy.com, NEURAL movementtherapy.com. You can find me on most socials as Move Therapy NC. MOVETHERAPY N is in Nancy, C is in Carolina, North Carolina. Shoot me an email. Go on the website. Check it out. But I'm here. I'm around. I would love to teach you, show you how good it feels to be you. And think about working with somebody that when you leave, you feel like you're you, and you feel that you're enough of you to be okay with just who you are. We don't want to say you're perfect because there's always room for improvement. Okay. Don't let anybody tell you you're perfect the way you are, because man, that sucks. Because what if you're going through some really heavy shit and someone says you're already perfect? That doesn't leave you any room to get out of the shit you're in. Okay. So if somebody tells you you're already perfect the way you are, walk away, because you don't want to hear that shit. You don't deserve to hear that shit. Okay. You're good. You have all the things you need. The universe is inside of you. You're part of it. We're part of this whole organism, this whole living thing. We're all part of the same human organism, the same one consciousness, the same one species. Okay. So we can go into this fractal division of people, or we can say we're just like this, you're just me and I'm you. Okay. So get a hold of me. Let me show you what I'm doing. Let me teach you. Let me reset your journey a little bit. Give you this little glimpse of what it feels like to be like reset, or kind of like back to present. And then whatever you do with that, you might notice like when you leave that it might, over the next couple of weeks, you'll start to maybe notice that you're handling a situation that before would have bothered you, or maybe you would have reacted aggressively or angrily. And maybe you're like, whatever. It's just a thing. It's a thing that happened, whatever. Okay. So that's the beauty of that, is that you can feel that present moment again and just be here now, like right here, or right in your house. Like, and that's the importance of that safety thing. Because if we do it online, you can be locked away in your bedroom. You can lock 3 doors behind you to get into this one space that nobody can see you, nobody can hear you, nobody can touch you. And you can play, like for real play, where nobody can access you. You're just locked away in this space, and I'm gonna teach you how to play. Okay, just like little kids. You're just your little kid. Your little kid is still trapped inside of you. That's your little kid. Okay, so I want to help you heal your little kid inside of you without you feeling judged on the outside, without you feeling like you're doing something wrong or there's a better way or anything like that. Okay. And that's very subtle. It's very hard to get past this shell that we've created, this mask that we created of like that. Are you worthy? Am I good enough? Did I do the right thing? Can I make a mistake? Is the mistake I made going to ruin everything? Right. And you learn that, and you can build off of that. You know what that feels like to just be you, to just try something like push the button, see what happens. It doesn't matter, right? Like little kids' toys, you push the button, might play some crazy song for way too long, but then it turns off because they're playing with it. Nothing's changing in the universe. So what I'm saying for tonight, I'm gonna leave you with this, because I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna make some chocolate chip cookies, hang out with my wife, is don't forget to play. A lot of people think that they'll play when all the work is done. When all the crazy hard stuff is done, I'm going to play. I think that's how retirement works, right? I'm going to work for 30 years, and then I'm going to retire. I'm going to play. Well, guess what? Sorry to say, the work does not stop ever. Okay? It never stops. You're always having to do something. Okay, you're always having to build something or create something, or like take care of something or take care of somebody. The work never ends. So if you don't mix in time to play, an hour, Jesus, like if you're at home and you're like busting ass and doing all these things, like exchange an hour and go, you know what, I'm just gonna go like hit a bucket of balls, or I'm gonna go, take a dip in the swimming pool or whatever, and then go back to work. Mix in your play with your work. Makes life so much sweeter when you can do both. Okay. All right. I'm signing off. I've been with you guys for a little bit. I'm going to head home. Thank you for stopping by. If you've been here, I really appreciate it. And I'll be back more often, and I'm going to start doing a little bit more of our movement workshops again. It felt good to be back on camera. Felt good to be around everybody here. So have a great night.